Welcome, my fellow Ambazonians. We'll start in exactly 2 minutes. Just give us 2 minutes. Welcome, everybody. All right, my fellow Ambazonians. Una good evening for all una, for all friends of Ambazonia. Una also good evening for all una, especially what people them for the Ambazonian territory, what people they did for Biafra land, and also for our Biafra friends. Una also good evening for all una. Today, na number 7 day for the month of September for 2021. I don't come for can salute all una. I don't come for can greet all una. I don't come for can give una a major update about the things that already happen. What they bring una news for the key important news that already happen for the international community. We go also to bring una the current updates of the key things that already happen for our liberation. Which are things the day, what did it happen, what people need for expect them, what people need for anticipate them. And then we go open the lines for people then for call in, for ask question, and then we go give answer so that any person will get a complaint, you get a concern, you get something with the worry you want understand something, you want know, you want gain clarity, maybe you be confused. And then you say, hey, PS, I beg, I need understanding. Today you go get the chance for call in and ask your question, or for call in, maybe give a suggestion. All right. So we go to start very soon because the people for the Ambazonia Communication Network, them too, they go to broadcast this communication directly to the Ambazonian people them for ground zero. All right. So we also go to pay attention for the ACN Facebook page and the ACN YouTube page because they broadcast for multiple angles for make sure say the Ambazonian people them all across the globe they be informed. So all money place there, when I welcome, we don't see say the ACN people then too they're already engaged. So all things already be connected. I get a lot of things I get for talk for una today. First, I want to start for thank what people them for ground zero, for the big ghost town, where they host town, where they get them for the across the territory, they observe them across the territory yesterday. We want to salute all man, we want to salute all my them, salute all our buy and sell them, salute all our brothers doing a small business people them. We want to salute even the people that they get big business. We want to salute all our hustlers them, our sisters them and our brothers them when are hustlers. We also want to take this time for salute and honor our best seeking people them, the taxi people them. For all man, every Monday, they sacrifice for the collective independence, for the collective freedom of the Ambazonian people, while people for ground zero that they sacrifice one day out of the week for sacrifice and for the collective resistance, for push our war of independence for its logical conclusion when are the independence and freedom of the Ambazonian people then. So for all our people from ground zero, una cafe day up. All right. Next, one court cafe for General Efang. Yesterday, the Supreme Commander of Ambazonia Defense Forces, when I be the leader, the defense leadership for the liberation on the ground. After their intelligence, it don't show say some weak spot it dey on the ground. The Supreme Commander dispatched 2 teams of their Kamatsus from 2 different locations. I hope I go pronounce and fine, Bamendankwe. They go for the, based on their intelligence, because that's how ADF they operate. The bilingual school for the La République du Cameroon, it been already taken since 2017, and it turned them into a military base. So based on their intelligence, a couple of La République du Cameroon, they will make them a very soft target. So when it dispatched the 2 units of Akamatsus, where they come out different place, Akamatsu na the ADF Special Forces, they go for carry out a raid, for raid the military base. During that operation, the Akamatsus, they take out 4 La République du Cameroon, their terrorist occupational army, when they be there for guard. They take them out. So we want court cafe for the Supreme Commander of Ambazonia Defense Forces, General Efang, and one also thank the forces of the Bamenda Brigade. What forces after that operation, all the forces of Ambazonia Defense Forces, where they come up for 2 separate bases them, all our forces them, they go back for their base, will be only getting a 1 soldier, will be getting a small bullet wound, but not be something where any man need for worry, na something where they be already start for treat time for the base and the soldier, they fine. Alright? Those one are the updates them that were the past yesterday. My fellow Ambazonians, wahala dey for Guinea, as all we already know. The president for Guinea, a couple of days ago, the new generation, we don't rise for Africa. The new blood, the new breed of Africans, where they don't rise. Mr. Alpha Conde, the president for Guinea Conakry, after he don't stay for power, he win 2 terms of fraudulent election, he finally decide for do a constitutional rape, for rape the constitution of Guinea and extend a term of mandate. They rape the constitution, change the constitution, for give the ability for continue for run for office. The young people, they be the watch. And he succeed for doing. He win the election. He continue for be for office. At the age of 83 years old, he no one leave power. Now we're a young man. Now in this, a young man, a patriot. I'll put this one for down. Put this one for up here for all now. A young man, when are the young patriot, when I be the head of the special forces for Guinea, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, a very young patriot, a revolutionary soldier. He asked himself, say, why would he leave him for this kind of political corruption? It take over our country for institute tyranny and oppression of the people them, just for 1 or 2 people them, and a few French puppets for continuously for sell the African people them and keep them under poverty. Without the respect for public institutions, without the respect of basic constitutions. The young man, he look and say, this one not correct. If we live and so our people no ever get hope. The young generation no go ever get hope. So Mr. Mamadi Doumbouya, he be been an officer for the French Legionnaire. He come back for Guinea about 3 or 4 years ago. And when he come back, they can create the special forces for Guinea. And these special forces then, now a new tool with tyrants that they use them for suppress their people then. So when he become the head of the special forces, and he become the person when I supposed to give the protection, for guarantee the protection of the president. So he see the corruption firsthand. He witnessed the corruption, the embezzlement, the weak leadership will not care about the hopes or the dreams of the people then. He realized and said the political system it be set up not only for benefit the elite class. The president and all the corrupt officials and they don't help for putting in power. He realized and said the average citizen of Guinea will not get chance for life. The average citizen of Guinea will get any hope. Being the head of the special forces and as person way a training tell you say the country get for come first. The people they get for come first. He decide for say the constitutional rape for Guinea must come to an end. The political corruption for Guinea must come to an end. Power must go back to the Guinean people and not to the corrupt elites. He decided for take the special forces and for take control of the Guinean government, capture the president, and take power back. Give them for the Guinea people. Them. Now in this. Now in that, now Mr. Mamadi Doumbouya that. Now the fine, brave, revolutionary Guinean, we don't take over the responsibility for create a political transformation, an economic transformation, a societal transformation, for move the Guinea people them forward, and for end political raping of the Guinea people, their destiny. So now the news that and what did it happen that for Guinea. Also, Mr. We'll bring up for here. Mr. Doumbouya, he don't also hold a meeting today. He don't hold a public meeting today. He don't convoke and call the prime minister, the former prime minister. He called the former prime minister. He called all the former ministers them. He called a meeting. And he tell them yesterday, say any person where he fail for attend that meeting, for the people, their palace, what they call it, say the presidential palace, the people's palace. He called that meeting in front of the people's palace. He said any person who will fail for attend that meeting, the army will go arrest that person, no matter place where they. So the former prime minister come with all the ministers and top government officials. When I hear the warning, we don't give them. They don't give a warning. All top government officials for Guinea, including the prime minister, they must surrender their passports and they not fit travel out of the country until further notice. All top government officials, including the prime minister and all the ministers them for Guinea, he don't ask every person make it surrender their official public motto them where they be the user. At the beginning this of public accountability. At the beginning this for take over, for give power back to the people of Guinea, and it don't authorized. Say all businesses, they must go on, people they must go back for work. Even for the mining, for the areas that we mining, they be go on. It don't authorized, make work, it continue for the benefit of the Guinean people them. It don't promise for bring change for Guinea. It don't promise for hand over power back to the people of Guinea so that they fit shape a new country, build a new constitution where people they will respect the institution of the state and for get rid of corruption and build a new society for give the Guinea people them a better future. And the news that from Guinea. In the next few days, we can do an analysis for tell why could that it happen for Africa, why sometimes they decide for take power for Africa, and we will give key examples of place them where army don't take over power and how they take them, they use them for transform that society, and we will give examples for when army they don't take power and how that place is so scatter. So not been at all time where army they take power. They take power from corrupt leaders them where they always work. But for this case, from which we don't see them from the start, we see a very good step forward. And we wish the Guinea people them luck. Mr. Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, we wish you the best for you for help for reshape the new society for Guinea, and we wish the Guinea people them good luck for this process where they don't take for straighten their country and create a country where every citizen of Guinea it will get hope and it will get an opportunity. Over the weekend, on Sunday, we just passed 2 days ago, the leader for our War of Independence, Dr. Ibacho, he began one of the finest interview where he don't ever come for outside for talk for the Ambazonian people then. And for that interview, as all we know, for the Ambazonia Governing Council, the goal not for serve the public, the goal not for please the leader. So when I realize and say, we'll be asked the leader very tough questions we even will not be expecting. And from which when I know, when I see how the leader even become quiet because it be catchy by surprise. We ask a question the way they reflect the concerns of the Ambazonian people. And he make the leader, he open his heart for the Ambazonian people. The conversation with the leader be there like it be there like person we did for Harvard or Oxford University, and it take international diplomacy 101 with Dr. Ayaba. The sense where this man get him, the wisdom where this man get him, the experience where this man get him. But the most important thing are the public honesty. And the honesty for talk for the Ambazonian people them. frankly, truthfully, na leadership that, na the foundation that would be. We asked the leader about a meeting, an intention with the Swiss, and he make them very clear. He not be interested for the public dominance, for these small political games we movement that they try for play and for score political points against other leaders and other movements. But at the end, it been at the disadvantage of the Ambazonian people. It also not be interested for that kind of political game. And he quote examples. Because of the failure and the disgrace and embarrassment with some leaders and movement, they don't give the Ambazonian people them. And the direction where they carry Ambazonia go do things and for dark. And things the way that the full Ambazonian for public, but for back, there is no substance. The leader get for step in for protect the aspirations, the hope, and the dreams of the Ambazonian people there. So that Ambazonians, they no go remain for a state of endless deception by the international system. The leader say no go live and make the international system play the Ambazonian people them. Because at the same time when this thing where they call and say the Swiss intention will go on, the leader will get direct talks with the United Nations. And he realized and said then too they not be honest. Because they can't tell you one thing. And then they can't actually say, who don't know what the Swiss they do. Then the Swiss they will talk say, who don't know what the United Nations is doing. He realized and say, these people they play the Ambazonian people now. And he called the United Nations to order. He tell them say, when I get for stop, when I no go play with. When I no go talk say Cameroon no one commit. Because of this. When I not be serious. Or when I talk say where would you wait for see what the Swiss they did one. You later tell them say when I not be serious. When I must take this generation of Ambazonians very serious, not in 1961 days. There must be clarity of our intentions. So when finally the special envoy for the Secretary General Office for Africa, Mr. Francois Faure, the last meeting where they get him, when he can talk some nonsense, say because of the massacre for Kumba, the Cameroon government don't talk, say no, you not be interested again. The leader tell them say, okay, if we not be interested, we not go be interested when we don't defeat Cameroon on the battlefield. We not can meet up with. And so he tell them. So we begin for come back to the Swiss for find out exactly from the Swiss themselves, even though they don't get other meetings them for back. But if one really sit down with the Swiss envoy, one-on-one, face-to-face, leader to leader, and then with other third parties, including the envoy for HD, for them for sit down for table, look each other for eye, and get a frank conversation about what did happen. So we called that meeting. The Swiss ambassador accepted the invitation for a very short notice and moved the delegation from Switzerland with the HD delegation from Switzerland, from Geneva. They fly over to the country where the leader did it for Norway. They fly over to Oslo and they get a face-to-face meeting with the leader. Now the leader asks and say, well, first of all, one time when I plenty say when I don't take the time to accept our invitation, for can provide clarity on our intentions. Now the leader asks and say, so as I don't thank una, make today, as we don't meet up for here, I want make we live here with a frank discussion because we want make what you wanna the thing for una head, we want make it succeed. And we want make things they move on fast so that it will end the killings of our people, it will end the suffering and the pain of the Ambazonian people then. So that's why we need this clarity. So what did it happen? Now the Swiss, they say, look, now place this whole day. Now the difficulties and this will face them. Now the challenges and this will face them. So right now, nothing need to really move. Now the leader say, okay. The leader help for provide them with advice, for provide them with expertise, for provide them with case studies and files of how this kind of process, how they don't do them for other conflicts where they like our own, and how they don't do them for move this kind intention when you talk say, I want to do something. But when you never start for do them, and the reason why the leader they call and say now an intention and not being a process, I explain them. The consequential parties to the conflict, the Swiss, they never get the consequential party to the conflict, they are consent. All it simply means that say, the parties the way they matter for the conflict. Because the one the way they don't go for that Swiss thing, as they go do and for backdoor deal, the Swiss they don't realize and say they don't get a voice, they don't get power, they don't get the leadership, and it been a big and it's shown a big disgrace for Ambazonian people. Then. The Swiss they don't realize and say the government of Cameroon and the governing council of Ambazonia, according to the World Bank report, now the consequential parties than that, according to the Swiss, and according to the third parties where they attend that conference, that meeting, they decide say the most important parties them to the conflict. Now the governing council of Ambazonia, now it be the leading movement, the most structured, the most powerful, and the most politically organized movement. We get the capacity for show a fine leadership. We represent the Ambazonian people then. And so the governing council and Cameroon, as long as they never commit, you know if he talks in a process. So that's why the leader they call and say now an intention. Because until the consequential parties they commit, then it never become a process. Alright? Cameroon never commit. The governing council of Ambazonia, when are the leading movement according to the Swiss themselves, they never commit for that process. So the governing council, it already lay out 4 conditions them for make sure say the Swiss intention, it meet international standard and it guarantee fairness and some form of balance. So it remind them, and the Swiss they acknowledge, say well, at this stage, they not think say they will fit be able forget Cameroon for commit. And at this stage, they not think say the way things that they go, they will fit rally other countries them. Forget Cameroon for commit. So the leader give them advice because for this kind of work, it be a policy expert and it also be a scholar where they do this kind of work as a professional at the highest level because now the things in that way study. So it provide expert opinion and institutional advice from the governing council of Ambazonia to the Swiss, how they fit get Paul Biya for commit, how they fit get other countries them, make they put pressure and join the Swiss for get Paul Biya for commit, because the other movements where they don't show intention for join for talk with the Swiss them, they never be able for provide that kind of leadership and expertise and move things forward. So that's why things they be just remember for that kind of way will be just being a delay tactics for the international system. So that meeting, it helped for strengthen the Swiss intention and help the Swiss people them for gain the missing tools within the Benin for go apply them so that for get other countries them involved and which they fit do them for induce leverage on La République du Cameroon in terms of commitment. Then the leader also talks a look, because for other conflicts when I don't be involved and when I never be able to make progress, it don't take up to 13, for some of them 7 years, and una still dey for the same place. We no want make una continue with this kind wave with the Ambazonia conflict. So since una don't show seriousness for una intention, una also go for do the hard work. Not be not only for the talk, because so far it don't be not only talk. There is no hard work where una don't put them inside. So the leader say, what people that they be killed, what people that they over suffer from the occupation, what people that they go through pain and suffering. So if una not get the capacity or the leverage for get Cameroon for commit and for move the process forward, we believe say it be for the best interest for our country and our own international reputation, and it be for the best interest of the Ambazonian people them and the international system. See, at the end of this 2021, for December 31st of 2021, between now and then, if we not figure Cameroon for commit and we not bring other countries, then would be powerful for put pressure on Bia for commit and for start the negotiation. We believe say this intention, it will come to an end. And they accept, they agree for the benefit of everybody, especially for the Ambazonian people there. Because as long as then they continue for talk say, then they want lead any mediation process, no other country for the international system, if it step in, or no other institution if it step in for start an alternative process. That's what they did for the international system. Now they norm that. So that's why the leader provide that kind of clarity and bring that kind of leadership. So by we asking the leader that question, it be really open up a lot of things and make a lot of things that be very clear. When we move for defense and ask the leader, who's would they for on the ground? The leader make may be very clear for the Ambazonian people. Say the Ambazonian people, through the strategy where the Governing Council of Ambazonia provide them to the Ambazonian people, the defense strategy on the ground. That through that strategy, all the forces where they rise up with the Ambazonian people for defend the independence declared. Because once you declare independence, according to the leader, a philosophy and a tactical thinking, you must declare that independence. So this generation, it declare the independence. Where they don't declare them, they reaffirm them, and they reassert them for 2017. The generation, they defend that independence for protect the lives of the Ambazonian people. So ask you, who's the strategy there? The leader tell Orwe, he said, the Ambazonian people, through this strategy, they don't defeat La Republic of Cameroon, hands down. Hands down. The facts, they be very clear for all. No matter, do not be a debate. This one, now a consensus, even with international experts. The entire international community don't come to the conclusion, say the Ambazonian people don't defeat Cameroon. And the leader it makes something be very clear for all way. The leader talks, says, look, my fellow Ambazonians, the Cameroon, where the world be known, where it include Ambazonia, it need to exist again. Now a very comforting statement that the Cameroon, where the world be known, where it be include Ambazonia, that Cameroon need to exist again. Because of the Ambazonian people, their strategy. What they call and say the Ambazonian strategy. So the leader, it talks that because we already defeat Cameroon, we'll get dynamic control. According to the leader, we'll get 85% dynamic control, 80% dynamic control. But according to experts on the ground, they said the Ambazonian people, they get 95% dynamic control. The leader talks, say, for places where they now, the dynamic control will get them, and for some places, we'll get static control. The leader talks, say, the Ambazonian people, they need to move for a new phase of self-defense in order for turn the dynamic control into total static control. And at the thing that way the leader be launch the policy of stabilization and consolidation. We no need for continue for fight over and over and over for places we already fight and defeat the enemy. Now the time for the Ambazonian people then for project power, for project leadership, for project authority, for project control of the territory. And therefore, for move from 80% dynamic control, according to the leader, but 95% according to experts on the ground, it means say we need for change what defense structures. We need for move for a place where we'll give the forces them the kind military power. We talk about weaponization, where it will give them the capability, the ability, and the firepower for create static control on the ground. That's why the leader tell the Ambazonian people, say, with all these things, at the time this will get for move for the area and the era of machine guns. Now remember, this journey, now a journey of innovation. For each phase, the leader they define the weapon, we go move it to the next step. So all the descriptive things and the things that we already describe them for we and we don't use them, they don't lead with so far for the point we'll get this dynamic control, and for some places we'll get static control. But that static control for the independence for be actualized, for the Ambazonian people then for feel a sense of ownership of the land, they need powerful weapons. They need weapons when I need the guarantee power. And that weapon, now in this. That weapon, now in this. The leader talk say, we don't come now to the era of machine guns. Now the thing that we go give with static, full and total static control. Now the thing that we go help with for speed up the liberation process and for give the Ambazonian people them total control of the territory. Now the era of machine guns. And the thing that the leader don't introduce them as the new standard weapon. As the new standard weapon for all the forces on the ground. Now the new power this, where the Ambazonian people need for projector. Now the new power this, where they give you ownership of the land. Now the new power this, where the show say they say you don't take over the territory. The leader talks say we get for move from dynamic control to total territorial static control. And the leader don't talk say every barrack must get minimum four machine guns. Every barrack must get a minimum of 4 machine guns in order for create static control, in order for demonstrate a level of power which shows that the Ambazonian people, they don't take back control. Because machine guns, their sound, it is send the enemy. When the enemy hear place where machine gun day, it need to pass. Even when the one the way they did for armor car, when they hear that sound for that machine gun, they turn back. Now the new weapon of liberation this. Now the new power this. we need for project them. Number one, the barracks or the bases where the soldier they stay for day. Now the headquarter that for the defense. Number one, it will give the soldier them the ability for maintain power for their own barracks. And number two, it maintains stability for communities. The stabilization process for stabilize the ground and then consolidate the victory. It need this new level of power. It need this new level of sophistication. As we push Cameroon out, as we don't discuss them before many times, now we need to take ownership of the territory. Now we need to be the new guarantors of stability, of security, of protection, and of peace. Now remember, the only reason why La République du Cameroon occupy Ambazonia and it remain for Ambazonia today is because we not build defense power for protect our institutions and for defend the Ambazonian people. That's why with the defeat of Cameroon, we get for move in for provide the necessary defense power for give protection to the Ambazonian people, for stabilize the community so they don't be ravaged by war, for show the world say the Ambazonian people need to just fight, but I say they want to provide the new alternative where it guarantee international peace, it guarantees security, it guarantees protection, and it guarantees stability of that place where they call and say Ambazonia. Now the path and the tool for recognition is until we demonstrate our ability for make sure so we protect the Ambazonian people. We protect, we bring stability to communities. And we maintain peace. They go only find way for we and Cameroon for go talk. For some way go bring a balance between Ambazonia and Cameroon. And they go always want to rely on Cameroon army, police, and gendarme as the sole instrument for peace, security, and stability. So we must be wise and we must be proactive for our preparation for full sovereignty, for our preparation for demonstrate to other countries and the international system. So the defeat of Cameroon no go create a vacuum for instability. But the defeat of Cameroon, it create an opportunity for finally create an environment where it will be very stable for international trade, it will be very stable for international peace, it will be very stable for international security. Now we need to be the new authority. For you to be the new authority, you must invest in the things that will give you power. For the things that will demonstrate power. For the things that will show your seriousness. Say you be serious. And you get the capacity, capability, and the means to protect the population. To protect and defend communities. And that new weapon of choice, the new weapon for complete liberation and total takeover, for the defense of that sovereignty, that new weapon, where the leader don't introduce them to the Ambazonian people, the machine gun. So the leader, they called on the Ambazonian people then for going forward, for look at a machine gun as the team will go take we into the finish line. Because once we start to put a lot of these machine guns through structured defense forces, now the power that way the population wants here. Now the power that way the world wants here. Now the power that will get for demonstrator. And this October 1. Now the starting point. Now the starting point. The forces on the ground, they don't do a fine job for defeat the enemy. Now we'll get for provide defense leadership, for get forces, they may get a code of conduct. And so that there is an alignment on the ground. So that everybody, all we go align through the political leadership and move things forward for all we. Because if we not do them, it will slow our ability for so we don't defeat Cameroon and we still leave the land empty. Gangs, thief people them, armed robbers, and Cameroon go sponsor terrorists. As when I don't see them in the past. For can scatter our community as a punishment. For why we rise up for fight them. That's why we must start for think fast. Say with the defeat of Cameroon, we're not going to leave the Ambazonia as a vacuum for international terrorism. As a vacuum for thief people them, for kidnappers, for armed robbers, for turn our people them into tools of extortion. Now a new era this. And there will be no space for Cameroon for come back from Ambazonia. That's why we must project this power. Now the message this, where the leader, it talks to make a bring them for our people. Now the message this, where the governing council of Ambazonia, it talks to make a bring them for our people. Now the introduction this of the era of machine gun as the new weapon for speed up the end of Cameroon occupation and speed up the process for total liberation and sovereignty for the Ambazonian people. Now they talk this for today. We will leave them for here. And we'll go open the line them for people the way they want call. People the way maybe they not be get time for talk for the leader. People the way maybe they not be okay. People the way maybe they need better understanding. And so we go open the lines them for everybody. The phone number there for on a front day. We will take calls and provide clarity, bring understanding, and make sure say every person will be on the same page.
Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
All right. So the lines that I don't open the line. So any person we want call, please call. Make your question may be short. Make your question may be clear. And make your question may be direct. We only ask, make you be very polite. Even if you get a suggestion, bring your suggestion for we. We'll write them down and we'll go submit them for the leader office. If not a defense suggestion, we will send them to the office of the deputy defense chief for the war council, and we will send them for the office of the chairman of the war council. So the lines will be open for every person where you get a question you need clarity, or maybe you want, or maybe you just want for gain and understanding. No matter your question, whether your question a political question, a defense question, a humanitarian question, a leadership question, we will do our best for answer them. So the line to be open for all, man. You feel call for WhatsApp. You feel make a direct call. For the people that be connected to me on Facebook, you feel also call me through your Facebook. The only thing will also the ask and I say, if you there for ground zero, when you call, you feel only talk say my name na Aya at the call from Bamenda. But may not talk your complete names. I may not talk the quarter we did it, just talks at the call from Bamenda. Or you just talks at the call from Mezan. Not talk the quarter we did it, not give your location, not give your full names. All right, that is small advice that way I think say be important for our people them. But for people them for diaspora, you know, when I feel call talk, when I name, when I full names, when I there for diaspora, when I be for if you there for a safe country. So the lines will be very open for all man for call. We'll get a couple of minutes for take a couple of questions. So we'll get some time for take questions and we'll say we'll get this discussion so that all we will flow for the same page. I want to make as a new one make something will be very new. For say I go get a specific day where it will be in a day for only take question from the public and then give answers to the public. We will take this question from this call from ground zero. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma. People, the way the one call, it be cheaper for you when you call for WhatsApp than for you for call direct call. The person will be called, your direct call, we think say maybe you don't run out of data. All right. Be when easier for call for WhatsApp. If you not get WhatsApp, well, if you also make a direct call and then you make the call maybe very short if you call from direct from ground zero. So if you call through WhatsApp, if you make a direct call, and if you also call with through Facebook, if you also make a comment, if you also write your question as a comment for the ACM Facebook page where you watch day, and we'll go read your question for day and then provide you answer for it because I follow all the comments for ACM Facebook page. All right.
Power off.
Would you follow on the comments for ACM Facebook page? So if you also make a comment there, and then your comment, if you ask your question for there. All right, Mr. Gaddafi, you say you watch from ground zero. We salute you. With the great honor. Thank you very much. Silva Berto, we salute you too. You say you watch from ground zero. Biko Khan, you don't stay where I see you. Welcome back. I hope so you did fine. Yes, some person don't make a comment talk say they say machine guns are the fastest way for the quickest way for the liberation of Ambazonia and for full independence. They say firepower, machine gun to give firepower. Yes, you be correct. Silver Berto talk say God bless the egg of sea. We thank all on plenty. Una stay positive. Yes, Maya talk say PS are they around. We salute you, Maya. Some person, Mr. Tony Bride, they don't talk say Make the colonial army of French Cameroon, they learn from the army of Guinea. Now the advice that way, Mr. Tony Bride, they give the people of La République du Cameroon, he say make their own special forces and their army, they learn from the army of Guinea and make them to the do it, the people them for Guinea, they don't do them.
Power on. Bluetooth pairing.
Hello?
Bluetooth connected.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
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 Would you hear you fine? Go ahead.
Hello?
Make we call them back. I beg if when they call the television when they listen there, when I reduce the volume while when they call with for when I telephone. When the volume for television continue for be loud and then you try for call with for telephone, we would hear both sides. We would hear you and we would hear the television. So if you call we if you call we from Facebook, if you call we from WhatsApp, and if you make a direct call, the lines will be open. We'll get some few minutes for take more calls, for answer on a question, address the consent then when I get them, so that when I feel air when I mind. If you also call, you give suggestion. You say, well, I see this kind of thing to go on, I see this kind of thing to go on. I think say if we do and so, we do and so, we do and so, I think say we'll move it forward faster. Part of leadership and the ability for listen, for take advice. And the governing council be very good for listen and for take sound advice, no matter for place where it come out. Oh, we discuss this one. Una sabi say some person during that day for Sunday where the leader be day live. Una sabi say some person ask the leader for War of Independence. Una sabi say some person ask you say, Mr. Ayaba, wait to make you decide for call yourself leader of the liberation. Now wait to qualify you for people them for start for call you say be leader of the liberation. Very important question, right? Now a very important question will be asked. So what to make the leader the leader? Now what did make a person a leader? There is a big difference between leadership and position. All right? There is a big difference between leadership and title. For Cameroon, we are the perfect example. From Mr. Biya to the Prime Minister, to all the ministers, to the senators and the parliamentarians, all of those people, they get positions. They get titles. So they not be leaders. You don't get anything. We qualify them as leaders.
Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We hear you.
Hello?
We hear you. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. For una, I know.
Good evening. I'm going from ground zero from the GLM.
Okay, you want to talk for Oyibo English or you want to talk for Pidgin? Which one you want to talk for?
Okay. I want to ask some question when you worry me, sir.
Go ahead, sir. We hear.
Mm. I want to ask whether ADF and the people of Chris Anu and the others, they know if you collaborate for being one for liberate Ambazonia.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Now the question they want action, right?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I said, sir.
Yeah.
And they asked whether Dr. Ayabachu and Dr. Sako, they know if you collaborate for make this defense make strong for ground zero, for liberate we for Bush.
All right. Thank you for your question. So I go drop and then I go answer them.
Yes, sir.
I go answer them while you watch for television here. Okay, thank you. Now our brother that way he call from the great state of Lebialem. He don't ask a very important question. And the same question where plenty Ambazonia them, they don't ask them. Why be say the governing council of Ambazonia under the leadership of Dr. Cho Ayaba and the splinter IG group under Sako and Chris Anu. Why be say their forces they not fit work together? Now the question that way come out for Lebialem. Now make a provide short answer for the best possible way of it. The governing council of Ambazonia, they create them as a liberation movement for champion the liberation, the freedom and independence of Ambazonia. Now the first thing that. The second thing, they create the IG as a government for govern the people them and be the only voice and the only one who if he talk. So the governing council is focus na liberation. The focus of the IG na government, na governance. So what it mean? It means say according to the IG, the governing council not supposed to exist because IG don't make itself a government. According to the IG, the ADF is not supposed to exist because the ADF is not there under the IG. So that's why throughout this war of liberation, when I don't see these two ideologies where the governing council believes say, make we liberate our people them first. When we don't liberate them, we don't liberate the land, and then we set up, we'll give the people them the choice for set up institutions of governance. The IG say, no, me, I must be government now. And any man must follow and hear what you talk. If you know one follow, you hear them, we they come after you. Anything we want to do them, we must scatter them because now we be government. So now the difference is that. And so the clash in ideology, now whether our priority now for liberate our people or now for our priority now for make sure say the government exists and for make sure say any other movements or any other defense group, it must be scattered. And that's why when I don't hear how every day that they give instructions for me to kill forces of the ADF and they don't kill so many of them, and I don't see how the plan for kill General Ivo, so that because they believe if they kill Ivo, it will be at the end of ADF. So that any other force on the ground, it must come under the IG group. Now the same thing, it lead to the death of 39 ADF fighters for Bui. And when they ask them, they talk say, well, when I go ask the Cameroon government. So it make it be very difficult, almost impossible, for say genuine collaboration if it take place for the Ambazonian people then. Because the policies and the ideologies, they be radically different. So now the thing is, now to replace this way, we find ourselves. So, number 3, while the governing council, through the Ambazonia Defense Forces, the ADF policy on the ground, I say, every other force on the ground, it get right for exist and for focus for defend their block and for defend their communities. Now ADF policy that. So ADF welcome any other group on the ground and embrace them because he knows say their existence is fine for Ambazonia. If you def my right, if you know def my right will be empty. Like the public fee come through my right, they take me out. But if you did it, you become a protector. So it be very difficult for La Republic for come. And since me I did for your left, La Republic will be very difficult for La Republic for come for your left and take you out from your left. So what coexistence, what purposeful coexistence, you for my right, me I did for your left, it make we secure, it make we strong, and it make we fit defend that block. But now the ideologies and this, no. So that's why the kind collaboration, I think, say if it happen until the Ambazonian people, them, they come to the conclusion and understanding for us themselves. If the two governments, where they don't create them, they don't serve the Ambazonian people positively for any way, shape, and form. If a people that they go through genocide, they go through this kind of tyranny and terrorism, and if they not focus their energy and priorities for the liberation of their people and for prioritize defense, but if the priority now the setting up of institutions then, when for protect people their positions, and when I don't see how the politics don't play out, and I don't see how the politics don't play out for take Siseko. How Sako takes Siseko. A person where Sako inherit his own institution. It take that same man, a robbery for mort. For can't impeach that same person when I create the institution with Sako did. You see, now they think that government. And the destruction of a government in a revolution that. You take a leader who create your own institution, where you inherit them after they don't pick you up. Even when you there for jail, you still impeach it and order somebody poisoning for prison. So I think say, if una one call make Sako, make Dr. Ayaba and Sako they collaborate. I think say if una, like you where you call my brother, call Sako and call Siseko, may they reconcile. If we need for heal the wounds of our liberation, the wounds, they get for heal them now from the place where the wounds they come out. We could take this other call from ground zero. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, comrade.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm still calling from Libya. I've got the answer. Hello?
Yes.
Hello, sir. You don't answer that question very well, sir.
All right.
And I want to still ask another question, sir.
Go ahead.
You don't. Okay, sir. If I want to give this question only to the interim government.
Okay. I not be in a place. I not be in a place for us.
If they don't. Hello, sir.
I want to tell you, say, because you want to ask the question of the interim government, me I not be in a position for answer any question on behalf of the interim government.
Okay.
All right. But I thank you for the attempt, and I thank you for your sincerity.
Hello?
Yes, comrade from Dubai. How no?
Fine, sir.
All right, right on.
I don't know if I did that program live now, so okay.
You did.
What's really about contribution? Before I want to contribute, I heard the last call I called. Doctor, why Dr. Abdul enough people? I don't know if maybe not because they live for bush where they don't know how the struggle will go. Because from all education, the still say Sakuna land to be. That's even I consider people with the doubt. I'm up to now. I doubt why I'm Ambazonia. That's Kapuna, then they call themselves Zamza. Up to now, some people never think realize what is happening. Yeah, they talk like I didn't for abroad. Now be there for ground zero from the start of the struggle. If to that, talk for a year. I know what I don't pass through. I know to fight, I don't fight them. It's what to that fear. I know they to just fear them because I like them. And so is the level where this Sako is this way bring us so from the day Sako. I can tell how many of we will die. By even we start poisoning ourselves, it's not calm. It's not calm all day while the community people they don't know. But anyhow, that one be the issue. My own from what we explained last time, I've been trying to talk and say why we ADF them we not join. Like at least like we like they do this special joining, you'll see the two person like because me I didn't when I will come, the all will do is all that side is so from that side, Malele all like that when I saw the work at the tonton. Why will not feel join? Go do one better attack for one barrack so that we feel gather machine for the one time. They can the attack. Because if we don't join, they do so small rally up. My topic come down, the join. Or we find that big come with all my manade. We burn at one time. We collect machine for the. We change position. It's not very easy for we because only for the expectable or the donate, the really or the donate or the come. They don't come like if we do and so they can resist them before money one the kind of buy some material them. Some more small things that we want to come.
All right.
Because I live yesterday, the audience, so that's why I'll go back.
All right, Ma. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What you don't talk, it makes sense, and now a good idea and a good way you did really look for see how we move the liberation forward. You see, because of the block by block strategy, all right, the block by block strategy it make for say the Ambazonian people they stretch the Cameroon military so that Cameroon military now get the ability for fight for all the various states for Ambazonia and all the various districts because the forces they be scattered all over Ambazonia. It make the Cameroon military be very vulnerable. Now the strategy that make them weak, they not fit concentrate and they be very vulnerable because they not fit concentrate their effort for some one place for fight. They go send 20 for year, send 10 for year, send 5 for day, send 30 for day. So they know fit fight the entire territory. The next step, now the next step is where they talk. How forces for block A and forces for block B and forces for block F and forces for block M, they plan one big attack. Now good thing. But when you move those forces for block A, for block B, for block F, for block M, you leave those places vulnerable. So now part of the thing that way, sometime then, it will be very difficult for take forces for A, forces for C, forces for G, and forces for even W, bring them together. Because you move those forces, you leave those places vulnerable. La Republic will go for those places, attack those places. By the time you want to come back, they already take over your territory. The leader come up with what they call and say the stabilization forces. For solve that problem, the leader get for create a force where it will be now a combination of different special forces them. They are Kamatsu. Now I work that. We preserve the block by block forces so that we not leave vacuum when then they move for go do joint operations. But we leave the special forces, then we leave the block by block forces for maintain their block and defend their perimeter. But then the special forces, they come in as the stabilization forces for to be able to do this kind of operation, because then they get the ability to move from state to state. They get the ability to move from district to district. They get the ability to move from the southern part of Libya for go for the northern part of Libya. Once they don't carry out their intelligence, they do their findings, and they know, say, okay, now the places we need for push, take La Republique du Cameroon out for keep our people them safe. Take La Republique du Cameroon out for give the block by block forces them the ability for take over and project power on the ground. Or for take La Republique du Cameroon out so that the block by block forces them, they will feel a lot more safer and their security will be threatened. So they create the stabilization force as a solution for the question we don't ask them. General Efan, since they launched the stabilization forces for April, now the work this way did one. The way that you operate, we now go get some of those images for outside here. The way that you operate, because it will also jeopardize their own security. The special forces or their Kamatsus, they don't take out so many La Republique police station, army camps, and barracks. But sometimes we don't even get the means for can show those things outside here. When you move that kind of big force, for move them from one block to another, if you not be very careful, because some time of public excitement, you see, the public he want get videos, he want get photos. Who said they go do this thing? By the time you remove that kind 150 forces, 200 forces, move them from this state, may they go carry out attack for that other state, or from this part of the state to that other part of the state. You leak out anything, you jeopardize not only their action, but you jeopardize their return. So they go carry out action. Then they go back for different places then. You don't take a video. You can't put them for outside. And forces, they never even go back. Sometimes you leak their faces. So the governing council and the ADF, the general develop a discipline. Because the goal, not been just for publish those actions. The goal now for take total control. And you shit on you quiet. That's why when I need to see General F and they make all this noise. Because if they for capture territory, liberate territory, take over the territory, consolidate those territories. Now, if they go do this work, they can't put this thing outside. No matter place where they day, La Republique for can't redeem the image for outside. Now La Republique will decide for send 500 forces. May they enter that place. You don't do yourself good or you don't do yourself no harm. That's why the ADF be very tactical. Mateuna, the ADF don't liberate almost 80% of Momo. They just now for consolidate, for stabilize and consolidate. And for make sure so they finish the other 20% with remain. The BLM, most part of the BLM don't be liberated. Including recently, they go take out the small military post will be there for, I think they call it a Mbongbi or a Mbongbi. That place where film match be there. They don't go clear them out. So till you go for Manu. So see the movement. So till you go reach your upper Banya for Manu. Most part of upper Banya don't be liberated by ADF. So the general day, it do it work very quietly. Like the action they carry him yesterday for Bamendankwe. We know how far those forces they come out for carry out that action. The generals send the special forces from 2 different places for can reach where they carry out that action and then take off. So your question don't be answered. The solution are the special forces, and they do exactly which the leader be designed them for. There is a limitation because the land be so big, but we only get so much special forces for them for the cover all these territories and for be able for move for different kind places. That's why you would see with time the leader will can address the Ambazonian people them as we already defeat Cameroon. Which is all we need for doing as a people for build the kind army and the kind force so that the special forces now they will be for different places. They know will only be for 2 or 3 places, but they will be for different states. If you get 200 of them for this state, get 300 of them for that state. We'll get 100 of them for that state. We'll get 500 of them for this state. So when you call for that kind of operation, they will take 25 for you, they take 10 for day, they take 50 for day, they take 100 for day. They select the best of the best based on the mission for them to go carry out that kind of action. And it will be very easy because the block by block forces, they must maintain their block and defend their block. You move them, you call Cameroon, you can take over. So that's why we get for build these special forces, and our goal now for increase their size so that we can spread them for other parts, other states. All right. So I hope say that one don't give you a really good clarity for your question we be getting for ask. Okay, we'll see this question for ground zero. All right, some person don't send your own message and say, may God bless Dr. Ayabacho and may bless all the forces them, and especially the one that will go carry out that action yesterday. Now the message that with this other person don't send them.
Power off.
All right. Any other question there? I get 5 more minutes. If you take 2 more questions in 5 minutes. So any other person when I get a question for me, you get a concern we want to address them. When we come for our primary goal, now mostly for talk with the people them for ground zero. So even the people them for ground zero, when I feel free for call, when I feel free for ask a question. All right. So I get about 5 more minutes. For these 5 minutes, if you take 2 more questions. Okay, Mr. Fongui, you don't talk say this. They make the governing council of Ambazonia. It set a specific date and make you announce that specific date for do public fundraising for machine guns. Thank you very much for your suggestion. We go tell governing council of Ambazonia saying that the thing that way you don't suggest now. Make we take this call from the Netherlands.
Power on. Bluetooth pairing.
Good evening, good evening, sir.
Bluetooth connected.
Comrade Lucas Asu.
Yes, sir.
Before I could ask a question, I really want to take this time to commend you and the communication team of the ADF.
Thank you very much for your compliment.
Yeah, and I really wish I could talk with the Dr. Cho himself, but I know his schedules are so tight. Yeah, my question is this, comrade.
He may be listening to your. He may be listening.
It will be very, very difficult for the ADF or the IG of SACO to cooperate with the AGC. So it is already identified that the IG SACO is a thorn in the flesh of the struggle. Any strategy by the ADF to just neutralize all of IG SACO's activities and then galvanize the entire cooperation team that is working together on ground zero to say, no, fashion our liberation? That's my question, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. That one, a big brother for that side for Netherlands. Good in had good Metref Nikov. Thank you very much, sir. All right. That one, our big brother for that side for Netherlands, for Holland. Now you don't ask a question. If it be possible, say the Ambazonia Defense Forces, they go after all the other forces they know they under the ADF for neutralize them in order for bring all the groups them would they be interested for the Ambazonia liberation for fight as one. First, the Charter of the Governing Council of Ambazonia. It define the Ambazonian people as one. It not define the Ambazonian people as different sets of people. Secondly, while people they rise up for ask for one thing. They rise up for ask for independence. They rise up for ask for freedom. They rise up for fight for end Cameroon occupation so that they fit defend the Ambazonian sovereignty. Now the thing that what people they rise up for. The forces on the ground, all them, every soldier on the ground, including the one the way, they don't pay the ultimate price. They rise up now for defend the independence. They rise up now for fight for end Cameroon occupation. They rise up for liberate the Ambazonian people them. They rise up so that our people they figure hope. All the forces on the ground, all of them, they rise up for that cause, for defend Ambazonia. So it be just unthinkable for say make these forces they go kill those other forces so that because if we not go kill them because now then they stop we, but if we go kill them, then we will move forward. It be counterintuitive to the people's ideology and aspirations. Now, true say forces that be on the ground they be manipulated? Yes. Now, true say forces that be on the ground they be misled? Yes. Now, true say some forces that be on the ground they be instrumentalized and they be politically used? Yes. But they don't create the ADF for say because some forces that be on the ground where they don't be politically used, they be manipulated for the carry out anti-liberation behaviors and actions. It means say the Ambazonian people therefore go after all these forces because they fight under some person where it be corrupt, and it don't show say a interest. Now for deviate the Ambazonian people, them carry them go for Yaoundé. We believe, leadership believes say power on the ground through structured command and control, it will bring a deterrent to the behaviors of these forces. And one of the benefits of the stabilization forces, when I see say since the creation of the stabilization forces, the behaviors on the ground, it don't cool down small. It don't reduce the attack. They attack them on different forces. But it never completely stop them, because we still see sometimes here, sometimes noise. We still see sometimes this some forces them, like what happened for Guza, where the retail forces say we'll give you 1 million if you go attack the ADF. But you see the power of the ADF, it now create a deterrent on the ground. It acts as a protection of other forces, because people now get to think twice for go attack other forces just for their political games and their political legitimacy. So the Ambazonian Governing Council no go tolerate those kind behaviors, and they no go tolerate those kind actions, and not be na something where we go even preach them or encourage them. I think the way we condemn them. The projection of power on the ground, it make them forces that they start to align. It make forces that they talk to each other. If you know the collaboration we did for ground of most of these forces, them you no go even believe. Like the leader talk on Sunday. When no pity won buy the first machine gun, he called the general of the Bamenda Brigade. He said, "Abeg, I need help. I know say when I get ways for buy all these things them and bring them. When I feel help me buy me machine gun." The ADF, when they go buy their own materials, they buy no pity with machine gun, bring and can't deliver them for no pity. But you see, I'm not the story there when I hear and outside here. No. So the collaboration on the ground amongst the forces, that's why you see the ground, it be as strong as it be. And ADF would continue for lead our people with this kind ideals, and where it make all we as one people, where they don't go through the same pain, the same torture, they suffer the same, where they don't rise up and for stand for the dignity of our people then. Because our people then are very loving and harmonious people then. We no go leave them, make a few corrupt, petty politicians. They can't destroy the character of who we be as a people. And they make we start to behave for the way we be inconsistent with our loving, kind, and welcoming nature. The Ambazonia Defense Forces get a code of conduct and a charter where they guide the behaviors, the actions, and the conduct of our forces them. And the general goal of make sure say the ground and maintain a level of standard where it give hope for our people them. It give assurance so the forces did it for our people. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Ashu.
Yes, bro. Good evening.
Long time, my brother.
I know.
No, it's fine. I don't follow show. I hear things really go on.
All right. Right on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Monday, the see how the thing they will deal with it inside the struggle.
When I hold on fine.
I want to talk about that caller. We just call now, so we travel outside we talk. Where you say why the agent if you crush. The only thing we did not see, we will not get for give that kind of idea. We will get that kind of idea. Now last time we caused that many problems that in fighting. The only problem is so go for the blame that Sako matter the way they know the one come to one agreement. We see most will push it to go ahead. And that's in that we have see for the fighter them they over try to make all kind of way for collaborate. Then we will enter ground zero with waka go other side.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Yes.
When I
So
stay,
the only thing that makes him wanna try for see how we come in unity. Now the only thing that we over cry for sure the way Dr. Ayaba we talk so just one red come up from my eye. Yes. As I will go attend that Swiss meeting and so on all those things. I do hear the thing just one red come on my eye.
all right. I go address
Lack
the,
of collaboration.
all right. Thank you very much. I go address that one. I'm address them now. The issue of some people that they still talk about make all the movements and make them come together for place with the Liberation Day after 5 years. You don't expose the corrupt nature of politicians them where they don't enter the struggle, they enter the liberation for advance their political agenda and advance their selfish interest, and for protect their careers and build new political careers through political corruption and embezzlement. So the last 5 years, it don't expose who every movement be. It don't expose all movements. So this will not be as a new thing anymore. At this stage, most movements, they be infiltrated, they be controlled by, they be influenced by Cameroon when I don't see them. So the collaboration with the lead, we call for protect the integrity of our people them, for protect the aspirations and the hope of our people them, we ask for we make any movement maintain a lane. Make any movement maintain a lane while we focus on the liberation. Okay? Make any movement maintain a lane while all we focus on the liberation. When La République du Cameroun, through credible processes, it commit for a credible negotiation, for a credible mediation, the Ambazonian people will be united under a common purpose. That one, no argument, no day. The common purpose will be united. Say, what people they want freedom, what people they want independence, what people they want the full sovereignty of Ambazonia. Will be united. A common thing. All the research and polling where they don't do it show complete say now the thing that what people they ask. So there is unity in that purpose. For make sure say all other movements so they never be infiltrated, they never be polluted. We preserve them. I'll answer. Good evening for you from.
Hello, Mr. Lucas.
Yeah, good evening for you from Ground One.
Yeah, good evening to you, sir.
I know.
I'm much happy for ADF members in our zone. There is this Sonara in Southwest.
Yes.
You know that the best option to destroy La République is to scatter the Sonara, because that is where they have funds to kill our people. I think if you guys can put head together and destroy that Sonara, because we have already scattered La République. La République is bankrupt. Bankrupt down. It is only politics that they are just using their mouth, but they don't have power in our land now. The best solution now is to destroy that Sonara. We don't want to see even one 1 liter of oil coming out of that place. And we are ready for it. It is our land. We own the land. The land do not belong to them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right. So I will answer the question for Sonara. I'll finish the question for unity. According to the way things today, we believe to make any movement maintain a lane while we maintain respect for each other. A leader don't emerge, and that leader right now for the Ambazonian people them, now Dr. Ibacho. We'll get many movements, but we'll get one leader. The various movements, they get their heads of movements, whether or not they are president of their movements, but for the liberation, not only one leader, they one. Because now you don't help the Ambazonian people them provide the ideology of the liberation. Now the governing council of Ambazonia, it gives the Ambazonian people them the liberation ideology. And it creates the roadmap for the liberation. And then it gives the strategy of how we will take and for defeat Cameroon and liberate the Ambazonian people. It gives we the defense roadmap and the defense strategy. And that way, all movements, they don't adopt them. Even the one that would be against self-defense, they don't adopt them. All right? Number 2, it lay out the diplomatic strategy. Consistent. Number 3, at every stage, the leader define the stage they define the next stage and the next stage. A combination of these things, it make Dr. Ayabacho the undisputable leader, the ideological leader, the strategic leader, the visionary leader for the Ambazonian people. Because now you don't help for bring in the kind leadership where you give the Ambazonian people them, the kind respect where our people they deserve. It don't help for bring that defense leadership on the ground in terms of building the first command and control structure, and now the only defense force where according to the international community they call and say a defense force. That's the only one. All the other one them now militia groups. If you call them Amber Boys, if you call them fighters, if you call them rebels, if you call them anything. But the ADF now the only internationally recognized defense structure for the Ambazonian territory. Because now the only group where they create them through a political leadership and it be part of that political leadership at the governing council of Ambazonia, where it get total command and control and political oversight. So all these things, they make Dr. Ayaba, he become the leader of a war of independence. Hello? And so, when the time don't reach, we'll be united in purpose. All the movements, they get their various presidents or heads. But now the leader, now Ambazonia get now one leader. We did lead the liberation of homeland. And a Dr. Eba. So for make sure say, will reduce the tension and internal competition. Make every movement maintain a lane while we respect each other for a common focus. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello? Go ahead,
Thanks a
brother.
lot.
Would hear you fine. So, as the leader already tell all we, when the time don't come, we go unite during the process when Cameroon don't commit for a credible negotiation or mediation. All the various movements, we will come together as one people. All the various movements, all we will come together as one people so that we will get one negotiation. How we will come together? It will start the generals and commanders on the ground. They will be in one team. All the civil society movements in one team. All were activists and were social media bloggers and communicators. Now one team. The political leadership. Now one team. All we now will come together and select the experts when them go sit down. They talk on behalf of Ambazonia during negotiation. It go be an expert-led negotiation. Not be na Dr. Ibago go negotiate, or not be na Dr. Akwanga, or not be na Siseko Ayoktabe. It go be na experts. They go negotiate for Ambazonia. So that it go take away this thing where people they fight just for saying that they be on top. Instead of for make Ambazonia may be on top. The governing council believes say make na Ambazonia be on top. Not be that the governing council may be on top everybody. Now Ambazonia get for be for front. Or we be for back. So it will be an expert-led negotiation. It will take away this desire where people they get them. Say they want to go talk on behalf of Ambazonia. For create, so they will sabotage anything where you know come from them. That the best protective strategy that for the Ambazonian people them, and at the place that we will be unified for, so that we go speak as one voice, so that some other people know they go negotiate for something else, and then some other people want to go negotiate for something else. So the leader create a formula where it guarantee the independence, the freedom of the Ambazonian people them, even if not through negotiation and not through a negotiated settlement. So for we, at the formula that the leader don't there. All right. I hope say I don't answer that question about unity. Some person there for ground zero where you don't really try for call, but so don't answer your calls 3 times, and your calls will not be fit for take them. So we'll try again one more time for see if we fit take that call. With regards to the brother we call about, we give the suggestion about the taking down of Sonara. My brother, if you never recall, Sonara will already be taken down now for the early parts of 2019. So the bill already take down Sonara for 2019. Sonara don't be totally destroyed. Right now, La République du Cameroun, it need 400 billion CFA. They need them for rebuild Sonara. Because Sonara no be insured, so all the money will be taken for pay the insurance for Sonara, it be going for the big man for Sonara a pocket. So Sonara it not be insured. So the insurance company, they not be to get their monthly insurance money. So when Sonara be burned down, they not be fit for come back and rebuild Sonara. So La République is still find governments and companies who the fee help them for borrow them that money, and then the fee can help for rebuild Sonara. But from now, Sonara don't really be totally damaged. The production of refined oil for Cameroon it be now very small, it be insignificant, most of their oil now that they actually buy oil, that they actually import oil for bring them for Cameroon, and then so through the government, and then subsidize them so that war no go come out for the country because of the cost of petrol. All right, or a petrol crisis no will come out. So the Cameroon government, they lost a lot of money from this burning down of Sonara. We don't take place, and they never rebuild them. Okay, so I hope say that one don't answer that question. I will take one more question, and then we'll wrap them up for today. Auntie for United Kingdom, one of our auntie where they follow this discussion, where they for the UK, he say he really like the response, the explanation what don't give him for differentiate uh, the difference between the egg of C and the people that would go create government, and why would they see this sometimes would they see this, almost more small infighting. He say don't really understand it now today very well. And he talks, they say the formula where the leader don't provide them for an expert-led negotiation, now the best thing that way he thinks say now the best policy that and the best way for follow him that. So with that, if no call not there again, we will leave them for here for today. I want to thank all the people that don't take the time for participate. Would all wait for here for today. I go make time every week for dedicate a lot for dedicate the entire program so that we fit get this kind of discussion them and interaction with our people them, so that we bridge the gap of understanding between policies, strategies, implementation, the progress on the ground, and for place where our people today, so that we fit bridge the gap of understanding, for understand the ideology, for understand strategy, for even understand policy positions between movements. We there for and for provide the clarity and a sense of direction for all our forces them. All right. So we thank you plenty for say when I don't take the time for listening for we for tonight. We thank you plenty for our dedication for this journey. We make sure so our people they be free. And as the leader don't promise our people them, this generation, they go write a new chapter for the Ambazonian people them. The Cameroon, where the world be known and will include Ambazonia, it need to exist again. The Ambazonian people, they don't defeat Cameroon, and therefore the Ambazonian people, they don't take full control of their territory. The destiny of the Ambazonian people now is not for the Ambazonian people their hand. It be up to we, as the leader don't launch the new face, the new weapon, for give away to one time. We then now for the face of the machine gun, the face of consolidation and stabilization of the territory, for give we static and full territorial control. I will talk for now very soon. Make all man get a blessed evening. Una stay fine. And as always, we love una plenty. Una good night.
Power off.
Make all man get a good night. We'll talk for now. Small time.